That's what you seeing.
She's just about the flame.
With the dress that reveals.
Good, y'all. It's Terrell from Reality Creations, and I'm here to talk about 3 reasons why men don't listen. Alright? So, a while back, my girlfriend Tasia got into a discussion about whether or not I listen to her and why I don't. And it got me to thinking. I thought about a good 10-15 reasons, but I was like, I realized that it really just boiled down to 3. So I'm here to discuss it. All right. So the first one is time. I think for a lot of men, we're bogged down by the idea of always wanting to be provider and protector. So when we come home from work, or we come home from the business meeting, like most times we're tired, we don't really want to have the responsibility of always wanting to listen to an argument or listen to an idea or listening to a lot of things, because we feel like we put all our time and energy into work already. So we don't want to have to come home and have more responsibility and more work. We want to have at least that 30-minute or hour window of break time, me time to kind of just unwind or what have you. So this is one of the worst times to actually try to hold a conversation with a man, I believe. That the idea of getting that personal time is real valuable. Specifically, I know personally, to even me. And I feel like the timing of talking to a man can be very, very crucial if you want to explain something really important to him or what have you. So if you want to get something off your chest, or you feel like having a whole conversation, try not to do it in those 30 minutes, because I tend to daydream around that time of day, because I kind of get my own personal time back, and my brain just keeps kind of floating to different ideas and different things that I want to do and what have you. So be careful of the timing. Whenever your man is busy, or he comes home from work from being busy, try to give him about 30 minutes or an hour before you actually hold a complete conversation, because I think it'll be best that way. All right. So number 2 is dealing with emotions. So I guess from when we're very young, men are taught to be very, very logical, right? And we're taught that women are very emotional. You know what I mean? Granted, both men and women have emotions and what have you, but the reality is, since men are, I guess, taught to be more logical, we don't always have a tendency to understand emotions. We actually reject it. So a lot of times when women come to us and they're speaking so emotionally, we kind of we don't really want to listen to them, because we can't understand where they're coming from. You know what I mean? We understand, I think men understand things more in, I guess, a logical, not necessarily sequential, but in the sense of, I guess, episodic way of thinking. So this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, right? I think women sometimes can be more, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess all over the place would be the term I'm looking for, but it's a lot of times women might have a mood here or a mood there, and men are not. We're so calculated, and women can be the exact opposite of that. So I think when you're coming to us, try to rationalize what you're saying, right? So for instance, if you're annoyed by something that we do, try not to come to us just speaking emotionally, like, baby, you hurt me, and this, that, and the third, where it'll be hard for us to understand. It'll be best, I guess, to understand why, or explain to us why what you felt about what we did hurt you, and explain the importance of not hurting you, right? So we understand that it's bad to hurt you, obviously, but it's more important to try to at least be logical with your approach to the way you want him to understand you. Because for us, we're always like, okay, babe, we see that we hurt you, and we try to put ourselves in your shoes, but emotionally we might not even have the same understanding. So if, let's say for instance, I guess Instagram, if we like somebody's picture, we're not thinking anything of it, we just look at it as a like, as opposed to if you see us, liking somebody else's picture, you might think that we might find them attractive, and or we're trying to talk to them or what have you. In reality, we just thought it was a like. You know what I mean? So for us, we're just thinking, oh, that looks good, boom. You know, for y'all, I think there's more. Oh, he must want to be with her. Oh, he like it's the thought pattern for us is so diametrically opposed to one another that it creates this static and this friction, right? So, you know, try whenever you're talking to a man, try to be more logical as opposed to more emotional, right? So number 3, avoid absolute words. All right, I heard this from Matthew Hussey. Avoid words like always, every, each, or phrases like keep on, stuff like that, because they one, make men feel like they have to put up their defense and start arguing with you back, and 2, you're speaking to the subconscious. Okay, so number 1. So let's say, for instance, your husband or your boyfriend is very, very messy, like me, right? If you say something to the effect of, why do you always leave your stuff out? Why do you leave this stuff out, or your clothes on the bed all the time, this, that, and the third? The problem with that is the words all the time or always in you, right? We equate that or conflate that to be, oh, well, we can't really do anything right. You see what I'm saying? So it's important not to use them absolute words, because instead of me actually understanding your point, we're just like, dang, I can't do nothing right. Like, you, like sometimes I could clean, you know, what have you. But on the other side, the best way to negate that is to attack the action itself. So if, just like me, I'm messy. So the best way to try to correct my behavior is, baby, you should clean up some more. You know what I mean? One of my homeboys, shout out to David, one of the things I guess he's bad at, right, is he's never really on time for things when you need him to be, right? And as my homeboy, and even potentially as like a future true business partner, right? One of the things I try to all the time say to him is, yo, I'm gonna need you to be on time. Like, the reason why I say it in that sense is because if I say, damn, bro, you always late, like if I keep saying that to him, he's just gonna know and expect me to expect him to always be late. In reality, I told him, you know, you need to work on being on time. What that does is it expresses the standard. It tells you what needs to be done in a positive way, right? So the same thing will work, I guess, even in a relationship. You know, if you express to them what you want done and attack the action in and of itself, it becomes better. So for my example about being messy, it would be better to say something like, you need to start cleaning up this mess, right? It isn't, all the time isn't there, but, and it puts important on the mess itself as opposed to my actions, or excuse me, me as a whole, right? So it attacks the action that I did, but not me, right? So that's the first part of it. The second part is the subconscious, which is a bit more complex to understand. So if you say, Terrell, why are you always so messy, right? In my mind, even though I heard that, and I might not even want to argue at the moment, I'm going to say, okay, cool, whatever. But if I constantly hear, Terrell, why are you always so messy? Terrell, why are you always so messy? Terrell, why are you always so messy? In my head, I'm kind of like, well, babe doesn't like the fact that I'm messy. Okay, I get that. But at the same time, it's indirectly communicating her standard, right? Basically, the more and more you say something to somebody, and the less you do about the way you either correctly say something to them, or I guess not necessarily leave the relationship, but put, I guess, standards on the relationship, it'll show them that you're kind of tolerating what they're doing, right? So it's actually better to tell me, oh, well, hey, babe, I'm gonna need you to be less messy. I'm gonna need you to clean this mess up, right? Why? Because it communicates what you want done, and I don't feel attacked. And 2, I actually will begin to get things done, right? So those are the real 3 reasons, right? Now, to add a caveat, I guess this whole idea reminded me of when I was a kid, and my mom used to always tell me to do things, and I would say or she would tell me, you know, Terrell, make sure you clean up the bathroom, make sure you clean up your room, make sure you clean the kitchen, da 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 da, right? Which is true. I'm still nice to this day. It didn't work, but the reason why is because the way in which she communicated it to me, right? So, well, some days, very few days, she would come home and the house would be clean, right? Or not the house, but a specific part of the house, maybe the kitchen, maybe the bathroom, maybe my room, whatever. So she would come and she would see the kitchen and say, "Oh wow, you did a good job on the kitchen." But look at my bedroom and be like, "So what happened to your bedroom?" Right? At that moment, it didn't hurt, but at the same time, it felt like, damn, I can't do anything, right? You feel me? So I think whenever you're trying to help somebody become better at something, or you're trying to get somebody to listen to you, always celebrate the fact that they're actually listening to you that time when you actually spoke to them, right? So even if they didn't clean up everything, right, celebrate the fact that they cleaned up something, right? And they say, all right, well, we can work on you gonna have to work on your room still, but I'm proud of you for actually, you know, cleaning up the kitchen or what have you, or etc. Right? So I think that a lot of times in the relationships, when you are listened to, you don't celebrate it enough, right? Just like my girlfriend recently, I used to always say to her, "Oh, babe, why didn't you, upload the vlog today? Why didn't you edit this and do that?" Da 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 da. And I think it was 2 days ago, she came to me and she was like, "Oh yeah, so I started editing this vlog, babe, and da 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 da," while we were in a random conversation, right? And I responded to her and saying this, that, and the third, and she said, "Well, Terrell, wait, but I edited the vlog. You're not proud of me?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, you're right." And then I started kissing her, laughing. You know, I kissed her like 10 times, whatever, to kind of show my appreciation to the fact that she actually, I guess, did something that I told her to, and she actually listened to me. So always kind of reinforce what you tell people, to make sure that your words are well received. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's pretty much it. So subscribe. Comment down in the link link below, or whatever below, comment box below, and yeah, I'll see y'all next time.
She don't know my name.
Is this what you feeling? Is this what you seeing?
She's just about the fame.
With the dress that revealing, could I get you?